Hello and welcome to my Divinity Original Sin video. Now, this is a little bit different from my more advanced videos. This is more of a beginner, somewhat friendly video guide to the character creation screen, because I remember when I first picked up the game and how daunting and overwhelming a lot of the information is and the things that you have to learn. And I can imagine for some it's quite off-putting, being paralyzed by choice and just, quite frankly, just not having a clue, and that's completely understandable. So I'm going to try to keep things as simple as I possibly can in terms of what things mean. So here you have a number of origin characters to choose from. And then you can also choose from custom characters. Now, I think this is completely up to you. The origin characters have a lot more depth to them. They have their own story embedded, which you can find and listen to on the origin story just up here. Or you can go with more of a blank slate by going custom character and inserting your own personality into how they behave. So it's completely up to you. So you'll see just below, very little description, they have two special abilities. The origin characters' special abilities are unique to them. So let's take Red Prince for example. He has Demonic Stare and he has a lizard trait which is Dragon's Blaze. As for Sibyl, she has the Sacrifice and she has her unique special Break the Shackles. So on and so forth with all of the origin characters. And then you come to the custom characters, who will always, like so, as you can see here with the dwarf, he has Petrifying Touch. Beast has Petrifying Touch. A lizard will have the Dragon's Blaze. A human will have Encourage. And so on and so forth. But all the custom characters come with Dome of Protection, which is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice special to have. And then below those specials, they have their unique talents. So if you just hover over them, it will just describe what they do. So let's just take Red Prince for example. Sophisticated gives you 10% fire resistance and 10% poison resistance, which is pretty nice, and he has +1 in persuasion. Sibyl, she has Corpse Eater, which allows you to eat body parts. It says access to memories, but what this means is you are capable of learning certain skills from eating body parts, which isn't a major factor in the game, but it's nice if you just don't have the gold and you can potentially learn a free skill. Ancestral Knowledge allows you to have +1 in Lawmaster. So you get the idea that they all have their unique talents. Below that, with the build presets, these are presets that you can edit in the preset, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything. The times this build preset actually has a factor on the game is when you begin on the tutorial ship. There's a chest that has a bunch of weapons, shields, etc. Now this preset will predetermine the items in the chest. So as you can see, Battle Mage, the Red Prince has 2 axes. So you are going to find 2 axes at least in the chest. If you're playing a multiplayer game, it'll be applied to every character. So this is something to bear in mind. So if we just switch over to Cleric, you can see he has a shield, and I think that's a mace, not entirely sure. But that will mean inside the chest there will be a shield, and there will be a mace. The other factor this build preset has on is when you recruit your characters, if you pick the preset Battle Mage, these are the skills he will come with. So those are the factors. So that's the origin. Appearance you can alter in however way you want your characters, so I'm not really going to touch too much on that. Instruments, again, you just play the sound and you just pick what you fancy. It doesn't have any bearing on the game, it just alters the music a little bit. The tags do have a bearing on the game to a degree. Really, the only one that does have a noticeable difference in the game is Scholar, because it does allow you to read certain books and learn certain things. So if you're creating a custom character, it's always good to have one, and it's always good to have one in your party. The others kind of alter your speech options in the game, just as a very, very fun one to have. Other than that, they're not like super impactful, but if you're gonna go with a custom character, make sure one of the make sure that Scholar is ticked, and then you can choose whatever you want. But you want at least one Scholar in the party, I would say. Okay, so let's talk about presets. So we've already discussed about the weapons and what the preset it means itself, but here you can actually detail it by yourself. So you can change you can change and alter all of these things right now, and it's not going to affect this. So you could build preset as a battle mage, but build completely different if you want to. So for example, I could build a mage of some sort, like this, but if I want to, for some reason, have a shield and a mace, I would leave the preset as a cleric. So this is the preset screen, so we're just going to go ahead and just remove all the points to begin with. So as you can see, we have strength, finesse, intelligence, constitution, memory, and wits. Now, strength increases your damage with strength-based weapons and skills, and that allows you to lift and carry heavier items. So they're going to be more of your mule, your strength user. You can get by without it, but the more strength you have, the more items that you can carry. When the game says increases your damage with strength-based weapons, what the game is referring to is swords, axes, maces, one-handed, two-handed of those. Sorry, let me just start again. That was pretty special. So the weapons that are available in the game that are strength-based are axes, maces, swords, and that applies to one-handed and two-handed. It will usually say on the weapons scales with a certain attribute. Anyway, so if you're using a sword, typically increase the damage with that sword, you will go strength. As for the finesse increases your damage with finesse based weapons and skills. The finesse-based weapons are bows, crossbows, and spears. So if you want to increase your damage with those weapons, increase finesse. And intelligence, it determines the intelligence-based damage you deal. So that will apply to spells and a staff or wands. Constitution increases your vitality. Vitality is your health points. Constitution is required for wearing certain shields. Memory is something that allows you to learn more spells and skills. Each memory point is 1 space. And then wits increases the critical chance, your initiative, and outside of combat it allows you to detect mounds, treasures, etc. So let's just say, for example, I would like to build a huntsman that uses a bow. So bows are finesse-based weapons, so we would increase our finesse to increase our damage with that. So let's just go with that for now. Now abilities. Combat abilities, all these are different schools of magic or skills. So as you can see, there's quite a large amount of them. A huge amount of them, in fact. Warfare increases physical damage. Huntsman increases all damage while you have the advantage of high ground. Scoundrel will increase your crit damage and your movement per AP. Pyrokinetic increases all fire damage. Hydrosurface increases water damage and healing. And items and spells that increase magic armor. Air Verge just increases air damage. Geomancer works for poison and earth. It increases that damage. And also increases the strength of your physical armor restoration. Or increases. Necromancer works as like lifesteal. And for each point you get 10%. Summoning increases your everything related to summoning pretty much. So your incarnates, your totems, it increases their damage, their armor, their magic armor. And polymorph allows you to get 1 free attribute point per point invested, which means you can get multiple points into finesse if you wanted to, for example. Single-handed, I'm not going to talk over because it's pretty much useless. You'll never put any points into it. Two-handed increases damage of the two-handed weapon that you're using, and it also increases your critical multiplier. Ranged increases your range damage, but it is additive, not multiplicative. And 1% crit as well. Dual wield increases, again, this is additive damage. This is additive. Multiplicative will do more damage than additive. Dual wielding, 5% damage, 1% dodge. And then more of the defense stuff. You probably won't really be considering this until later in the game. Maybe not at all. Perseverance is probably something I would not even take into consideration, like, ever. It only works on certain crowd control effects, and you want to be avoiding that altogether. Leadership, it says here, to all allies in an 8-meter radius, so it gives you dodge and elemental resistances, and retribution reflects damage back. So the damage they do to you, say if you had 2 points in retribution, that would be 10% damage reflected. So it's okay, but most likely you'll be looking at these points before even ever looking at these. So yeah. So you have those. The civil abilities. Telekinesis allows you to pick up items from further away via telekinesis. It's more of a convenient civil ability. It's pretty cool though. Lawmaster allows you to identify items in the game. It also gives you more knowledge of your enemies that you're against. So if you have some Lawmaster, it will give you info on the resistance that your enemy has, its stats, talents, etc. Sneaking, whilst you're sneaking, having points into sneaking will just lower the vision that they have, so it's a little bit easier to get around while sneaking. Thievery allows you to pick doors, pick locks, chests that are locked. Also, you can thief townspeople and characters in the game, but you can only do it once per character. Bartering increases the items that you sell, give you more value, and also when it comes to buying items too, they're cheaper. So the more points you put in, the better the effect. Persuasion gives you base attitude with strangers that you come across, but also they are used for persuasion checks. There's times where you need persuasion to pass to either complete a quest or avoid fights, for example. And then Lucky Charm, it's like a random effect when you open like barrels or things in the open world. You can end up proccing and getting random items for free. So very nice to have Lucky Charm. So let's say we're a ranger, we're going points into finesse to increase our range damage, and the abilities, I don't know, let's just say we're gonna go with Lucky Charm. Okay. So being a ranger, we need at least 1 point into Huntsman to access the base Huntsman skills, and then going Warfare would increase damage, or I can go a number of these other things. So I'm just gonna put a point into Warfare just to show you, because putting a point in each of these will grant you access at character creation screen to 4 abilities from that school. So as you can see, we put 1 point into Warfare, 1 point into Huntsman. So we have 4 Huntsman skills to choose from, and we have 4 Warfare to choose from. Now, because we're using a crossbow, all of these Warfare abilities require a melee weapon, which we're not going to have, so we're not even going to consider any of these. So you would just browse over, read what the abilities do, and then choose as to what you want. So let's just keep it simple. Let's say I want to take these 3 skills. So you read the skills, you decide what you want, then you move on. So you're going to move on with these 3 skills to play through. Just want to show you what it kind of looks like with another school. So let's just click Scoundrel, for example. So now we have access to the Scoundrel tree. So we get those 4 different Scoundrel abilities there. So you can just like take a look, take your time, look through the abilities, see what you kind of like, and then play accordingly. So looking at these, let's have a look. So backlash, this requires a dagger. Throwing knife requires a dagger, whereas adrenaline doesn't require a dagger, and chloroform doesn't require a dagger. So you can combine different spells and skills from different schools. So I might look at this and I might see, okay, I can't use these 2, but I might want to take something like this, for example. So again, if we just remove the point from Scoundrel, we can put 1 point into Pyro, and then we can see a bunch of new school spells have just shown up. So you can just pick and choose of what you like and what you want to choose from. I mean, you don't even necessarily, let's try Intelligence. So Intelligence, we want to increase spell damage, so that's associated with being a mage of some sort. So we no longer on Huntsman. Let's say that we want to be a water and an air mage. So let's put point in either of those. So now we get to choose from a bunch of different spells. So you can just pick and choose as to what you want to play. You know, being a mage, you need intelligence to increase that damage. It's going to increase the 1 damage and your staff damage. So you've got a good start with the intelligence. We go Hydro and Aerophage, and then we can take a look at, oh, which ones do we like the sound of? Okay, I kind of like the sound of this. I kind of like the sound of this. You know, Rain is a particularly good spell to have comboing these 2 schools together, so I probably would look at going something like this to begin with. So that's a basic rundown on the presets, and you would just apply the same for any type of build that you're going. If your intention is to use an axe or a 2-handed axe, you would go knowing that an axe scales off of strength. You would think, okay, I need to increase that to increase my damage with this axe. And also based on what we just knew, we know that warfare is a bunch of weapon skills and increases physical damage, so we'll put 1 point in there to access those skills. For a melee physical user, I probably would couple this with Polymorph. So we have 1 in Poly, 1 in Warfare. So we now have access to both those trees, so on and so forth. Then it comes down to the talents. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but you get 1 talent point from character creation screen, and at level 3 you get another one, level 8 level 13, level 18. You'll get 1 talent at each of those levels. Just to note also that when you gain a level, you gain 2 attribute points and you gain 1 ability points. Every even level you gain an extra slot for your skills. So what I mean by this is currently we have 3 slots. At level 2 we will have 4 slots. At level 4 we will have 5 slots, so on and so forth. You can increase, like I said before, you can increase the amount of memory and space for spells by putting points into memory. But you can't actually do that from character creation screen. You'll still have the base 3 skills. So let's treat it like we are playing a mage. Okay, so we're going to go with 13 points into intelligence. We're going to play a Hydra Arrow Mage. I personally would look at taking Thievery on the boat so you can steal a bunch of items before you even get off the boat, so that's useful. And then the skills I would look at is I would look at Rain to create wet surfaces which lower resistances for water and electric damage. And then I would go with 2 attacks, Discharge and Hellstrike. So far Intelligence is complementing the Hydra Airforge, and the spells are complementing each other. And in terms of talent points, there's a good number of ones that you can choose. So let's just say, let's just keep it simple. Let's just choose Elemental Affinity here. Elemental Affinity lowers the action cost of spells by 1 when standing in a surface of the same element. So if you're standing in water or electrified water, those spells are going to be reduced by 1. But if the spell costs 1, it will just remain 1. So it's really good for multi-cost AP spells. So, there we go. That is a basic tutorial to character creation. Hope this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.